So, so you may find it funny, but by far the hardest part of this job, by far, was not actual flushing of the fluid, but the research as to what fluid is the proper one. So, so it took me, I kid you not, about 8 hours going through the internet sources, talking to people online, before I was confident about what sort of fluid to use on our cars. So mine is 535i 2011 build, I believe, something like, I don't know, second part of 2011, so July, I think, or August 2011. So I called the dealer and they said that this is the right fluid. As you can see, the price is ridiculous. I verified the price with a bunch of other FCP Euro and other great providers. That fluid is ridiculously expensive. It ranges from something like 50 to 60 or whatever dollars per half a liter or half a quart. So you need two quarts, you need two bottles like that. You need a quart or a liter, which is two bottles like that, which means your oil could run you $120 just for oil alone. Okay. So I've been doing research. Obviously, I said no way on earth am I spending that kind of money on 1 liter of fluid. So it took me a long time until I finally contacted the Redline, and I got a reply very quickly from a gentleman in California who told me the following. Here's the email. So he seemed to know what sort of he seemed to know the technical BMW documents, because he knew that there's a difference in the fluid from July of 2011. Okay, after July and before July, there's different recommendations. Don't ask me why. Somebody on Beamer First pointed out that the differential hasn't actually changed between these two dates, so he doesn't know why there's a different fluid required. But still, if you're looking at the vehicle built after that, this is the oil that you need to have, hypoid axle oil G1, and that's the weight, and it's GL4, as you can see on a bottle. So this is the equivalent, supposedly MT85 is the equivalent on the Redline assortment. Okay, so if your vehicle is built before, then I suppose you can use something else. Okay. So I'm not going to speak to that because mine is built after, I believe. The dealer recommended this oil, this very expensive oil. So I stuck with the MT85. But contact Redline if you want to verify as well, and maybe leave me a comment if they say something else. But this is sort of what I got, and it made me very comfortable with actually doing it after about 8 hours, 2 days, 3 days worth of research. And very, very, very many conflicting sources, because some will say that GL5 is fine. Basically, the issue is we have a non-standard differential. We don't have what's called a limited slip differential, as you can see on the bottle. We have what's called a conventional or open differential, where the braking system is controlling the speed of your wheels, or braking your wheels instead of the differential. So most of the fluids I found were the GL5 for limited slip differentials, with some chemicals added to the fluid, which are not good for the open or conventional types that we have, the not non-slip differential. So that's why I contacted Redline, and I felt good about what I got. Okay, so let me know if you contact them as well, if you have the prior build to July 2011. So as you can see, this is the recommended fluid from Redline. MT manual transmission, MT85. Again, don't confuse the manual transmission here. It's for automatics and manuals. We're talking about the rear differential here, okay? But this is the fluid, and one important thing about it is the GL4, okay? GL4 is the designation of that fluid. So I ended up using that, and 1 liter is, believe it or not, in Canada it's only $25, okay? So much, much, much cheaper, about 1/5 of the price that I would have paid for the BMW fluid. So today we're doing the rear differential fluid flush, drain and refill. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can just put your car on the ramps like that. The reason mine is specifically put like that is so that it's level. My driveway is sloping down, so now the car should be level. I checked the the level with the actual tool. So let me show you. There we go. Okay, so you know it's nice and level. And once you have that position, you can go under the car and here use your 14mm hex bit like that with a big ratchet, and you can go ahead and find your fill hole. It's actually not a drain hole, unfortunately, and begin sucking the fluid out. So here's what I did, by the way. Do you see this little white patch of paint here? If you have a paint marker, mark the positioning of your bolt, so you don't have to use a torque wrench, and you can just screw it back to the original position before you remove the plug. So there's two ways to do it. One way is to jack up the car like this, sort of on the stains, and make it nice and flat. This way, as soon as you open the fill bolt, the fluid should start leaking, okay, and that should tell you that it was filled to the nice level. And all you need to do is just suck the fluid out, push the new one in, and until it starts leaking, and then basically close it up. Second way to do it is to jack up just the rear side, sorry, the right rear side of the vehicle. So jack up just the right rear, and this way, when you open your fill hole here, your differential is going to be at an angle like this, right? Which means the fluid may not be leaking right away. So if you want sort of more control over your fluid, this would be a better way to do it. If you don't want the fluid to be leaking, spilling on you right away, that's one way. And then when you refill it, you're going to be slightly overfilling your differential. So that's also not a bad idea. And then when you lower the car, then you're going to have it flat, okay? And then you can control your level. However, when you lower the car, you're not going to be on ramps anymore, right? Which means you're not going to have the room to get under your car. So to me, this works better. My driveway is sloping down, as you can see. And by jacking up the rear, putting it on the ramps, I can actually have plenty of space here to get into under my car. So next step, so this is the way I'm going to do it. Next step is to remove the... To obviously mark your position, okay, with the paint marker, and then there you go, stick it in like that, and it shouldn't be under very tight. Unscrew it. Okay, I got it loose. And now I'm watching for the fluid to start dripping. Oh, and it is coming out. There you go. As you can see, fluid is coming out, so I'm actually gonna close it up, and that's how you will drain it, okay? So I have to admit to cheating a little bit on this job, because I've already done it. Now I'm making just a video for you guys. I've already done the job because it was very messy, so I didn't want to hold my camera or anything like this, and I didn't have a second shooter. So I'll tell you exactly what to do, and I'll show you what to do. So you should be still in good hands, but that's kind of how my car is set up for this job here, okay? So basically, once you get it loose, like I just did, you're gonna go get your fluid transfer pump. So here's mine. you're gonna use one of these if you have one. Okay, it's about 20 bucks, and you're gonna get yourself a pan, obviously, the pump for this job. And here's what's gonna happen. Once you unscrew the fill bolt, you can let the fluid drip out a little bit, obviously, right, onto your pan. Not so much is gonna drip out. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make one of these. Okay, this is another hose, and look what I did. I actually wrapped the hose around the end of the hose. I wrapped it around with a steel wire, pretty strong wire. Use some kind of a low gauge because you need to have it pretty strong to hold your hose like that. Essentially what you're gonna do is you're gonna plug one end of, so this is my input here on the pump, okay, because you're gonna have to suck the fluid out. So what I did, and I'm sorry I only have one hand, I actually put one hose into the other. I put one hose into this one and actually duct taped it really well, so there was suction, continuous suction, vacuum. Okay, basically something like this. Again, it didn't work all that well, but it was good enough. If I held it like that, then I kind of created a vacuum. And this is the other end, right? That goes into your differential. You could probably use it with just this hose, but you still have to use the steel wire to shape it, okay? To shape it into that position, to that shape. Why do you need to shape it like this? Here's why. It's because as soon as you finish dripping, you're gonna have to grab this guy and stick it into there. Okay? You're actually gonna have to stick it into the hole, so it kind of goes like that. You see what's kind of gonna happen behind the scenes? Once you put it into the hole like that, this end will go to the bottom of your differential, and you will be able to suck the fluid out. That's the whole idea. So that's why I had the other end plugged into here. Again, the suction can be a bit of a problem with the duct tape, so it didn't work very well. But essentially have a third person, or second person, sorry, operate your pump and suck the fluid out. This is my output. Output actually went back into the, back into the pan. This is how much fluid came out, so I measured it. Make sure you measure it too. Account for some other, loss or spillage or whatever. But roughly 3/4 came out, and my goal was to make sure I put in as much or even a little bit more until it starts dripping. So I did, and here's the before and after. Okay, so your before and after shots show you the quality of your fluid, and then the reverse. Time for filling the new fluid. So it's very simple, actually, much simpler than sucking the fluid out. To suck the fluid out, you really have to wiggle. You have to wiggle that little guy there. So it's grabbing as much from the bottom of your differential. So it took me a while, but again, about 3/4 of a quart of a liter, 3/4 came out. Then time for the fill. So once you suck out about 3/4, less than a quart, less than a liter, this is the one that works for me, as discussed at the beginning. So basically, again, my input, here's my input hose. My input went into the new bottle here like that, okay, all the way. And then the output, I didn't use this guy anymore. There's no reason to use this guy, so take it out. Then my output, over here, my output went right into the fill hole. Okay, stick it in there deep, and it only took about a minute, not 30 seconds, and we were able to push all this fluid, new fluid into the differential, and again, do it until you empty the bottle or until the fluid starts dripping out. Once it starts dripping out, so have your pan ready. Take out the hose and put the whole bolt back in. Obviously clean the bolt first from any kind of metal shavings, if there's any metal shavings. I don't know if it's a magnetic. Not every BMW has a magnetic plug. And close it. That's it. Again, if your car is flat on the ramps like mine, your job is done. If you see it leaking out, that means you have the perfect level. And I just did, just like I showed you, and let me show you again, okay? Oh, and it is coming out. There you go. As you can see, fluid is coming out.